Alright guys, thought I'd do an update for this week. Did one on the Spanish channel, but I thought, I'll do one tonight for this channel as well. Um, I suppose the big question is, there's been a few people asking me about the whole Boris thing for Saturday. Is it going to change my outlook on Spain? And are we going to give up living there? No. um, I find it really bizarre that people think that it's just going to be the end of the world sort of stuff. Um, if you just look at even people from outside the EU and how they're embedded into Spain, you can see they still own properties, they still have jobs, they still function, they're still part of the society. It will go on. That's the reality of it. So it doesn't really matter on that front at all. Um, if anything, it's not going to change at all. May end up with a bit more on the passport checks and things like that, but not really, not really a big problem. I mean, you see a lot of people from Morocco, for example, and other places going about their business. Nobody bothers them because it's not like the UK in the sense of Spain doesn't really give you much. So if you're not going to take out the system because they won't let you have it, Spain really hasn't got too much of a problem unless you're a criminal or doing something else that creates problems in the Spanish society. Um, so no, that's not going to change. Now, being back in the UK, what's it like? Well, I've got to admit, um, where I am is a bit of a different setup than normal. I've just sort of like rented a place and it's all fairly new. Different area to the sort of place I normally stay. But also I'm only about 2 miles from work, so getting to work's not an issue. Getting back from work's not an issue. Finding stuff to do in the evenings can be a bit difficult because I do find we have a lot of fields here, a lot of fields, a lot of parks and things, but not really found too much activities. I'll tell you what. There's a fair bit of these sort of smaller supermarkets, and one of the things I have noticed, there does seem to be a shortage of men's clothing in a lot of supermarkets. You may not notice it, but just have a look next time you're in. If you're in the UK, you'll see there's a lot of. And I noticed it in Asda, Morrison's, Tesco's, Sainsbury's. They all seem to be doing it. You'll find a women's section, you'll find a kids section, but a lot of times there's no men's section. There might be an odd robe or something, but there's no clothes. Because bizarrely, I just wanted to buy a couple of jumpers, and it took me about 4 days to find one of the supermarkets to do it. Because I went to supermarkets because it's easier for parking. Can't be bothered going to the town. Um, but it was just one of those weird observations. You're thinking, where's the men's section? Aren't we all for this equality and all this stuff that we're constantly being told? So where's the men's section? But anyway, I did get a couple of nice lamb's wool jumpers, which that'll keep me going through this winter. Um, Work and finding is quite good. Good working environment. Um, I think by the end of next week we'll be in a good position to go forward into next year. So with that, I'll be quite happy because then I can start developing some other strategies and trying to develop the business to get it in a much better position. Um, but enjoying it so far, and the spare time, like I said, I get a bit bored, but I've got to get my Mac in for repair as well. It needs a new battery, but I'm thinking of getting a mini projector. So if any of you guys have got one of these pocket-sized projectors, let me know what it's like, the quality-wise, because I'm probably going to order one so I can watch it on this wall. And I want to do some tutorial stuff around the um, power tools and stuff around Office 365, and do is it Power BI, and getting more to grips on that sort of stuff. from a presentation point of view, but also I'm doing a fair bit on SharePoint at the moment. So it'd be nice to get to a point where I can evolve that, get myself a bit more knowledge on it as well, because often I don't need it to a level of somebody who specialises in it, simply because I get to a point where it stores documents, we download the documents. That's a bit about it a lot of the time, but I want to get to the point because Office 365's got some nice tools in there, and I've been looking at how some of it integrates, because it'd be nice to get some triggers so that, for example, say a spreadsheet's updated, it automatically sends out emails to an email list for those updates. I know it all sounds a little bit boring, but reality is that's the sort of stuff I need. It'll make life so much easier when you do that. You know, for example, you have somebody that's left the company and it pings out that John, whatever, no longer works for the company, goes out to all the sites and locations for security reasons, and it's all done without even having to think about it, because obviously one of the people in there will be yourself, so if you get the email you can make the assumption everybody else got theirs as well. So I'm looking at that sort of stuff, because the more automated it is, the easier it is to manage, and the easier it is to manage, the easier it is for me to pop back to Spain for the weekends and stuff, and maybe do a bit of working from home on a Friday, for example. But we'll see where we get. When am I going back to the Philippines? Another question I got. To be honest, I'm still thinking what to do next year, because we could go out to the Philippines, or April's mother, I think, gets used to her annual trip down to Spain. So I'm still gauging that at the minute. I haven't made any decisions, because I'm hoping to buy the first apartment at the start of next year. And I've sort of trying to gather all the funds together now from different locations so that we can make the first purchase. Because if I can get to 5, which is the big figure I'm looking for, basically that would fund us staying in Spain permanently, just from apartment rentals. So, yeah, I suppose the next question is, somebody's going to ask me, well, what if the Brexit happens and the end of the world? La Mata, where we stay, property rentals always in demand. Always. Whether it's short term or long term, there is demand. We constantly ask for properties and actually have a shortage of properties that are available. The return on investment's not bad, but at the same time, I just want to get to the point where we have a steady flow of cash coming in. The majority of it's paid off, because this is the whole point of this. And for the long term, we could actually sit back and live off income from the apartments and stuff, and potter around, do more stuff on Spain, do a bit more travelling around, enjoying life. Because did have on the Alicante channel where somebody saying, the dreams about Spain, maybe they're falling apart sort of thing, like everybody. It's not that. It's a case of I can earn a lot more in the UK. There's still a lot of options on the table in Spain. The other bits and pieces we're doing there is actually growing. It's not declining. It's actually, we're actually starting to get some steady workflow in Spain as well. So the point is, things are taking off there, but it would take it probably another 18 months to get to the sort of hours. I wouldn't say income level, because income level is nowhere near what I can earn here in the UK. But it would take about 18 months to be fully sustainable. But don't get me wrong, I can go and do call centre stuff, I can go and do other bits and pieces, but I prefer the project stuff. It's what I'm good at. I get paid a lot more, and quite simply, I'm just in the middle of finishing off another course, because I finished one, was it last month, for facilities management, and I'm going to sit and write another exam tonight. Is that let's see, what do you call it? A document submission for a test. I've got 12 to do. There is 12. I've done, this will be my third one, so that'll get me to where I want to be on the project management side as well. So things are progressing, and I suppose one of the things I will say, this year when I was sort of had my back issues, I sort of sat back and reanalyzed everything, because things have been progressing anyway. They were going at a steady pace, um, but like with the contract I did before, when my back gave in, I was earning good money. We banked a fair bit of cash, and this will bank another load of cash, to the point is it can buy property quite quickly. And if we can get the first one paid off, then the income from that will help pay for the second. Plus, I keep this on for 2-3 years. It will actually bank the money up. And to be honest, if I can automate things, I could probably put a justification for me doing this part time. Because as long as you're on top of it, it could go that way. And if it's part time, I don't have to come to the UK a couple of weeks a month. It would suit me financially. It's good money. Logistics wise, the reason I took this contract is because of where it is. It's not far from the airport. It's not traveling around the country. It's got 42 locations in the area. All I think the maximum is about 30 minutes away in traffic. So if I got a scooter or a motorbike here, which I'm thinking about, realistically, everything's within 20 minutes. So yeah, things are progressing. Now, one of the things I want to highlight though is be aware that you've got to do this stuff yourself. Nobody drops this stuff in my lap. I look for it. I spend a lot of time analysing the contracts that are available. I cherry pick the ones that I want. I got offered another job in London just this week, and quite simply, what they were offering was 1,000 less than I'm currently earning, but it was only one location. Now, to be honest, if this wasn't flowing as well as it is here, I may have looked at it, because the other place is only one site, which means one location, but the other side is they expect you to be in the one office all the time. But here, there's a bit more flexibility because of 42 locations, but also the complexity of dealing with the buildings, getting the paperwork and stuff done, and all the other bits and pieces that go in with running such a large contract. But a lot of it is computer based. They're running around. I have other people that do that. I just tell them what they need to do in the sense of what the projects are, and they set the projects up. They go and analyze it, get the quotes, get all the bits and pieces together, and come back to me with the information. So a lot of it doesn't actually involve me moving too far, so that suits me. But you've got to set yourself up to improve your position, because if you look at the way life is, it's often people that are setting you up for what they want. So if you actually want to steer that in a different direction, you'll get friction. You'll get people saying, well, nobody else does that, or I don't think they'll accept that, but they don't say, you know what, I'll ask and I'll find out for you, or okay, that sounds like a good idea, or okay, if you're not going to be working Fridays, how are you going to cover that? Well, the fact is, I'm getting in the office an hour earlier, and I can actually finish 2 hours later. So it's not a problem hours-wise, because I could pick that up Monday and Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and by Thursday, I could be leaving on Thursday night. It wouldn't be an issue. It's only around making sure everything flows. I have the meetings always scheduled Monday to Thursday. People are aware I wouldn't be there on a Friday. I make sure that we're ahead of everything, so nobody's chasing me for something, because if you're ahead, you find that works in your favour. If you're always, your contracts are ahead, your paperwork's ahead, everything's broken down, you're not getting chased for anything, so people just leave you alone because they know you're on top of it. So a lot of it is how you deal with it, how you get on top of it, how you sort things out. And a lot of people don't do it. But I will say, you've got to make the decisions yourself. You've got to progress yourself in that direction. It's a bit like, you look at it now, I managed to stay in Spain pretty much most of this year. Had the whole summer with my kids. I've got to admit, it'd be nice to recover as well after 2.5 months of the kids, because in Spain, kids don't go to sleep till about 1, 2 in the morning. So you get a bit fatigued after a while. But it's been great having the whole summer with the kids, and still making money at the same time. So now is moving it into the next stage. Work through the winter, spend time Christmas with the kids and stuff, and work into the start of next year so we're ready to buy the first apartment. And once that's bought, start getting it paid off quickly, get somebody in there renting it out, and then on to the next. That market won't change. The only thing that's making it a bit like this is to do with the what do you call it? The healthcare in Spain for retirees. Because if you're from the UK, they have a agreement that the UK state system will fund it into the Spanish state system because of the way it's been set up. That's the only thing that could throw a spanner in the works. But in all honesty, because of where we are, we have more than one type of resident as such. You've got the pensioners. You've got a lot of people now moving there for an easier life, because obviously the internet's caught up. You've got 100 meg fibre, no problem, and it's cheap. But also you're looking at the fact that you look at it from the bigger picture that other people are starting to do it for the digital nomad stuff. You got people that commute. There's a fair few people I know that actually travel backwards and forwards to the UK on a weekly basis. It's cost effective. You know, I'm not being funny. The place I'm staying at the moment, I sit and look at what bills you would pay if I had took on a bigger place, and it just wouldn't make sense. You know, because I don't want to be here permanently. I don't want to be here full time. I don't want a mortgage. But if you go into that sort of realm, you start paying for your council tax, your TV license, your water rates, and everything else, and it stacks up quite quickly. It really does. And don't get me wrong, I know everyone else is paying it, but one of the parts I want to bring up in the video is there's nothing wrong with being thrifty. Make it in the UK, spend it in Spain. Buy property in Spain, live 6 months in Spain and the other 6 months in the UK, get a small room in the UK, have a villa in Spain. Completely up to you, because when you look at the two price differences, where I'm at the moment, I can get 4 apartments for the same price as a small old house here. And yet the income of the apartments outweighs the cost of the house here significantly. So if you're not happy where you are, I would say analyze it. What can you change? What do you want to change? What do you want to be different? Where do you want to go? What goals do you want to set? Because you need to set it and you need to achieve it and you need to outline how you're going to get there. And like I said myself, sometimes I'll sit back and say, right, I need to come at this from a different angle. Now, the other bits and pieces are still continuing. Where I am in the UK, I've already approached companies around the air conditioning training. I've also approached here about seeing if I need to do my CBT for a motorcycle. Because one of the things I noticed is you can park at the airport for 21 days for free parking on a motorcycle. So what I'm thinking of doing is actually getting a scooter. Why a scooter and not a motorbike? Well, when it rains, my legs are sort of protected from getting soaking wet when I turn up at work. But also commuting into London and stuff, it's not that far. It's ideal. You know, it's ideal vehicle for roaming around. So I'm sort of looking at the moment whether I have to do a CBT or not, because my Spanish license don't need it. But also I'm thinking about either get a brand new one here or get a brand new one in Spain, or get a brand new one in Spain and drive it all the way to the UK, or even easier, stick it on the back of a truck and get it to bring it to the UK for me, and I'll just use it here. But ultimately, things aren't. Nothing's going backwards. It was going backwards at the start of the year when my back went and the issues around the sibling stuff. But today, it's all heading in the right direction. Glad to get rid of all the excess baggage that was stacking up. So I'm quite happy the position I'm in now, and looking forward to going forward. But yeah, as somebody said earlier, you make your own luck, and that's it. You've got to do it. Thanks for watching.